we overlook the kids in Iowa, the kids in Nebraska, and small town Alabama, and upstate New York, right?
Yeah.
And so my job is to make sure that I go there, interact with them, allow us to have human moments. Because I believe that if narrative is currency, we can't just focus on external narrative. We have to focus on internal narrative as well.
I know, but Jason, you sit here as someone who didn't even read a whole book until you were 17.
Of course.
And now you're an ambassador for reading.
Absolutely, and I think I would have read books earlier had I had more of this interaction.
Right.
Not just about the books that were being written at the time, but if anybody would have come to see me and let me know that they are the ones behind these words, and I could buy into them, then I could buy into the work.
Carla, why did you pick him?
Yeah. Well, you just heard it. What better ambassador?
Yeah.
Someone who didn't have the books that he needed to get him excited about reading, who can interact with any type. He's a rock star in young adult literature. Young people of all ages and types and sizes and colors stand in line for 2 hours.
I've seen it,
to interact with him. And so an ambassador, the Library of Congress, the largest library in the world, we're promoting literacy and reading. To have Jason go and be that ambassador is just wonderful.
So the Department of Education, which tracks reading scores, they came out with some numbers recently that weren't very good. They were going in the wrong direction for 8th graders. I think it was 4th and 8th graders. What do you make of that?
Jason makes a good point that
I think it's tricky. Yeah, I think it's tricky. One, I'm not one to negate the statistics, but what I will say is that statistics don't tell whole truths.
You're seeing some encouraging things. You're saying
I'm on the ground, and I'm on the ground every day, right, all over this country, and what I'm seeing is tons of young people getting more and more excited. Now, the translation of that excitement to the test scores is an interesting thing, but are there more young people reading? Is what I'm saying.
So even if they're not reading books yet, they're on social media or something. They think you're an interesting personality, and then they find out you're an author.
Yeah,
I think it's. There's that element to it, and there's also, look, there's currency in cool as much as there's currency in narrative.
Yes.
And so a lot of young people just want to do whatever the cool thing is, and right now there are a lot of kids who really believe, depending upon the book, that reading is cool. We saw it happen with Harry Potter. We saw it happen with tons of books. Angie Stone's The Hate You Give. Right? We see this happen, right? And so I believe that it's all about making sure that we're giving them the thing that they want and need, and then showing up for them to make it real.
What did reading do for you?
What did reading do for me? It did a few things. Number one, it showed me who I was. It helped me to navigate the world that I lived in. It helped me to navigate my internal space and who I was as a person. But more than all those things, it gave me soft skills that I use to manage my life. In order to read anything, you have to have discipline, patience, concentration, listening skills to listen to yourself, to then synthesize that information. Those are the same skills that you will need to manage a job, a relationship, and to do well in school. It's bigger than just narrative. It's also the external macro stuff.
Carla, what do we do to get more kids reading?
We have,
other than put Jason out there.
Put Jason out there.
Jason's one person.
Also, we have to provide the books that they might want to read and not be judgmental. And I brought a copy of the book from 1946. It was
Bright April.
Bright April. When I was a little girl, this in Jamaica, Queens, Little Branch Library, this was the only book that had someone that looked like me in it. And I love to read. Books should be windows on the world, but they should be mirrors.
You say without judgment. Why is that so important?
Well, sometimes we want young people to read the great novels and things, and not a graphic novel. And if you see them and you poo-poo it and things like that. No, reading, it's like a muscle.
Anything they make a connection. Anything they make a connection.
It's like a muscle. You get practice. So you're reading comic books. You're reading, and we have the world's largest collection of comic books. So Jason is
in the Library of Congress. Is that right?
Library of Congress. So that first
not a lending library. I don't think you walk out.
But so that's what we're really hoping that Jason can.
Jason, when did you make your first connection to reading? What was it? Do you remember?
To reading?
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
What was it that lit you up?
17 and a half years old, Richard Wright's Black Boy. And what lit me up about it was that it wasn't a 50-page exposition. Page 2, we were right in the midst of the drama. Page 2, right? I think it's interesting that we expect young people to want to read 50 pages of exposition when they live in 2-minute worlds where things are happening rapidly. So my job as a writer is to write something that has a hook in the beginning. By the way, adults also don't like to read 50-page exposition.
No, they don't.
Right? No. And so for me, it was the hook. And once I got to the hook and I got through a book, then it became the obsession with completion. And then my ball started to roll.
Yeah.
And it's still rolling.
It's
still rolling.
And roll on.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Best
What a great
ambassador we could have.
Carla Hayden and Jason Reynolds, thank you both very much. Good
Thank
luck out
you.
there in Nebraska, small town Alabama, upstate New York, all the places.
And upstate New York.
Yeah. All right. We appreciate it. On today's CBS